We'll call this meeting to order tonight of our regular council meeting of Tuesday, March 25th. Our vision is striving for a vibrant and balanced community, and our mission is to serve in the community and embrace opportunity. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda? I understand we have one amendment here, Regional District Fraser Fort George Agency Referral Form, which I imagine will add under new business.
Correct.
Okay. Councillor Blanchette, Councillor Latimer, all in favor? This is going to be interesting. I'll just be like, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And adoption of the previous minutes of our March 11th regular council meeting. Are there any errors or omissions? I think everything was okay. All in favor? Okay, carried. And tonight we have a delegation from KPMG, Colleen Valentine, and did you bring somebody with you, Colleen?
I did. Corey Naphtali is with me as well, one of our other partners.
Welcome. And you'll be presenting on our draft financials for 2013. Welcome.
Thank you very much for, I know, I told them I was going to tag team them out. I should have. We thought we'd come up with some kind of comedy one, you know, but yeah, it wasn't. We're accountants, okay? Comedy, yeah. So thank you for having me here this evening. Hope Mayor's feeling better. I hear he's a bit under the weather, so hopefully that goes well. We've decided to change the presentation a little bit this year, so we've got with a little bit of a PowerPoint that next year hopefully we'll be able to get on screen. So just thought I'd go through that and hopefully keep it a little bit briefer. Let me know if you have any questions as I'm going through, and I think copies of the financial statements were actually distributed to you as well prior to the meeting, so you've had the opportunity. So first thing I'd like to do is extend my thanks to Lori and the village staff, and they're great. They help us get our job done, which is really, really good. On the first page, just with the overview, just again to confirm that we are independent of the village. We'll be issuing a letter of independence that confirms that to you as well, so that we can issue the audit report. There's been no significant changes this year, thank heavens. So nothing really to worry about in terms of accounting changes, nothing with the estimates or the policies. Coming up for next year, we have, or a year from now, I guess, we have one more year, but start to thinking about it now, is the new section on contaminated sites. And Lori was up attending a session that we held about a month ago, and so has some preliminary information and is already starting to work on that. So not as big of a transition as we did with the tangible capital asset section of 2009 that hopefully we never have to live through again, but you know, will require maybe a little bit of research and may have an impact. We don't know that yet, so but the staff is working on that. So flipping over to page 3 of the presentation. So we're issuing a clean audit report this year, no issues. We do not have a management letter to issue as well, so that's a good thing as well. So the audit went very well. You know, working well with Lori. So yeah, nothing else there on the audit report. Flipping over to page 4, we'll start with just kind of an overview of the financial information that was presented in the statements. So this basically presents the balance sheet, shows the cash actually has gone up over last year. Accounts receivable are down, but we had a lot of grants receivable last year. So this year we didn't have, mainly at the Swift Creek, I think it was last year that we had. So overall, year over year, our assets have gone up by about $400,000. Okay, so positive trend. Flipping over to page 5 is the accounts payable, gives you kind of a recap of the liabilities and accounts payable. And the biggest one there is still the debt. A little bit of increase in the debt last year, new truck purchased, the garbage truck that was financed. So about an increase there of about $75,000, and then minus the repayments. So overall, your liabilities actually stayed on par with last year. And the number that's really important here is the last number there, the net financial assets. So 2.8 million last year and 3.3 million this year. So a positive increase of about 500,000 in your net financial assets, which is a really strong position. The debt that you include in that number funds your capital assets that are not in that number. So it's very positive. Okay. Flipping over to page 6, we have the net book value of the tangible capital assets. Not much activity here last year. There were very little projects done. We basically had the garbage truck and the Bigfoot Trail. Those were the biggest projects for a total of about $240,000. So there wasn't a lot of activity on the capital end last year. Flipping over to page 7 shows a recap of the income statement. So revenue budget was $2.8 million, actual was about $3 million. So a little bit above budget. Last year was $4.5 million, a bit of a decrease there, but there was a significant amount in grants last year that were for specific projects that weren't there this year. So overall revenue was pretty much on par in all the other categories with the prior year and with budget. Expenses, $2.8 million budgeted, $2.8 million expended, and $3.5 million last year. Again, due to the special projects, expenditures last year were a lot higher than the current year, but the corresponding increase in revenue offset that. So overall surplus, the budgeted surplus, once we restate it to factor in depreciation and things, so it looks like there was a budgeted deficit of about $48,000. Surplus actual was $181,000, and last year was $920,000. Again, a lot of that is due to capital grants that end up not flowing into surplus for spending by the village. Okay, any questions so far on those pages? Okay, pages 8 and 9 give you a little bit better breakdown of the total revenues, the different revenue categories and the expenditure categories. I'm really not going to spend too much time on there unless there's any questions. Okay, so flipping over to page 10. This is that other note that we usually go through on the financial statements that breaks down to your surplus to show the different areas of surplus. So overall, the total surplus right now for the village is $17,421,000 versus $17,244,000 last year. So it really stayed constant. The mix is a little bit in the breakdown of those numbers. 13 million of that, or almost 14 million of that number, is tied up in your tangible capital assets. So that's basically your net book value of your assets minus your debt. So it's not there really for any spending or anything. It's the equity, if you will, in your assets. Then we get to the unrestricted general surplus, which is about $800,000 last year. So there was a small loss in the general fund of about $6,000. Okay, so kind of on par, but that number really only represents 25% of your operating costs. So there's not a lot of cushion when you're looking at a $2.8 million expenditure budget. Restricted general, that's basically the community forest equity. So because of the community forest, we set that aside because it's just the way the accounting goes that we record that number. The water fund is sitting at $263,000 versus $226,000 last year, so there's a little bit of surplus made there. And sewer fund about $400,000 versus $331,000 last year. So those are kind of the unencumbered surpluses, those numbers. Okay. Flipping over to the next page, we break down the reserves a little bit. So right now the village has about $365,000 set aside in the Capital Works Reserve Fund, which is there for general equipment capital type expenditures. We have the land sales reserve fund of $64,000, and then the MFA unexpended of and I have to do my math, about $254,000, I think. I didn't reprint this slide and I had some edits on it, so my apologies there. So basically, the reserves are probably a little light in terms of future expenditures. And there's nothing here really set aside for water, and then the sewer's got that unexpended money sitting there. So just want to go forward. And then the last, our page 12, just kind of recaps the notes. Didn't provide all the verbiage this year. The notes just provide some general information, the accounting policies, how we depreciate, how we record revenue, things like that. And then there's more detailed notes on the investment in the community forest, receivables breakdown, and things like that. The surplus breakdown I've already provided in the previous slide, because that to me is the more critical. There was no changes in the commitments and contingencies notes, so the standard, Municipal Insurance Association, the collection of taxes on behalf of other governments, the pension note, which did change this year and the deficit got bigger, but again, it's a note disclosure. And then the segmented information and things like that we put in there. And that's it. So we get to the last slide, and if there's any questions.
This is great. This is great.
We have Corey to thank for that.
It's really nice to follow.
Yeah, and it's great news to hear we had a clean audit again, so Laurie and staff thanks for all that hard work. I think it helps Colleen and her staff make your job a little easier then
It does.
too. So that's
Really, yeah.
Good work, Lori. So, if no questions, can I have a motion to receive the delegation from Colleen? Councillor Blanchette, Councillor Latimer?
Just need you to read that second part,
Okay.
actually, for the record.
Okay, so that council receives the delegation from KPMG and approves the draft 2013 financial statements as presented. Councillor Blanchette, Councillor Latimer, all in favor? Carried.
We wanted to make sure.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. You're not heading back to Prince George tonight, are you?
We are.
Oh my goodness, okay. Drive safe.
So, okay.
Yeah, dark snow. Okay, thank you.
I don't usually do that. Usually they stay the night.
Okay, we have no unfinished business. And correspondence, oh, is this?
I do.
No,
You added that to new business, right?
yes, new business.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Is it here?
No, new business comes at the end.
Okay, yeah, okay, so this isn't the one. Okay, so
The other one.
this is the other one.
Yeah.
So Regional District Fraser Fort George Temporary Use Permit Referral. And this was for the vehicle storage, right?
Yeah.
The wrecking, the metal. Okay. Council, do you have any questions of staff or concerns?
Can you get it on the table?
Sorry?
Get it on the table.
Get it on the table.
I'll make a motion to support the issuance of the temporary use permit for
second
Arnold
it.
Merrill.
And any concerns or questions? No. Okay. All in favor that council support the issuance of temporary use permit number 174 to Arnold Merrill, at Block B of the southwest quarter of District Lot 7361, Caribou District by the Regional District of Fraser Fort George. All in favor? Carried. Second correspondence is Sherry Tinsley Walk for ALS. Can I get a motion to get it on the table?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Councillor Blanchette, Councillor Latimer. And what is council's wish on this?
I would like to give her access to the park and have the tent rental fee waived and have Public Works set it up on the Friday before she needs it.
Will that be any problems that we're aware of? Should have Public Works assist with the setup? Shouldn't be. Okay. Councillor Latimer, okay. So, get that, Mr. Rich, okay. All in favor? Carried.
I'm just gonna set that up.
Okay. So we are on to Committee of the Whole. And Corporate Officer Hutchins is going to get our whiteboard up and ready for our input and feedback. So we received a report at the previous meeting discussing the number of committees that our council and staff juggle throughout the year, and we thought we would do an evaluation of these committees and different liaison appointments to see if there's anywhere we can do a little streamlining, help relieve staff's obligations for agendas and minutes and participation, and see if there's any area to give council a little more breathing room as well, with the number of meetings that we have to juggle as well. So we're just going to, I guess, go through down the list. Is that how you want to, should we handle it?
You could if you wanted. You can just open it up for discussion. It's kind of your...
Council, how do you
Committee of
wanna-
the Whole is more of an open
Open discussion, just
forum. for
let it go.
everybody, But you can structure it however you like.
So we're going to decide whether or not we need to attend these meetings on behalf of council. Is that what we're doing today?
What we're looking for is some assessment of your feelings on how many committees you'd like to see, which committees you feel are critical for council and or staff to be involved in, which ones might be better as working groups, which allows a little bit more flexibility.
If it helps too, I had a conversation with the mayor who's unfortunately sick, and I know he was going to structure it by looking at what CEO Yanciw put in the report as the recommended committees to remain, and to start with understanding why those are the ones that,
I don't think I put that into the report.
or the ones
that are highlighted?
He knew which ones they were, I guess.
Yeah, these ones are gray.
Like the ones that are gray? That
No, those are required, those aren't optional.
No, that's, you've got them divided into two groups.
Yeah, there's the internal and the
Internal and
external.
external.
Yeah,
So external,
maybe he wants,
council sits on a number of committees that are other groups' committees. And so do you feel that that provides you value? The purpose of that is to be seeking the feelings that are coming from that group, the direction and processes and needs and general thoughts.
yeah, and these are committees that we may not necessarily have mandated that we have to participate in, but somehow have been.
Usually been requested to participate, and then council may have agreed to have a representative.
Is there a
sit on-
possibility that any of these groups have a mandate in their policies or in their bylaws requiring a council-appointed liaison? Maybe, do we know that? And is there any reason that they would need that?
A lot of groups like to have council representation.
But it's
There
not
may be-
necessary.
Well, there may be some that currently have that.
Like, I'm just kind of looking at maybe some of these, because we collect taxes on behalf of the regional district.
There isn't a regional district requirement for that.
Okay. Okay.
I think on the VARDA and on the Chamber of Commerce, in their bylaws, I believe that they have put in there that they would like a council representative.
Do we feel that it's necessary though?
You know what?
Yeah.
If we don't feel it's necessary, I know for those two for sure, we could take back to the board and just say, do you really feel that it is necessary to have a council representative on your board? And if not, because I know a lot of the requests are not necessarily put through the liaison, they're put directly to staff.
Right.
Anything that they may require, right? So, I mean, if we decide, or we could put it back into their court and say, if you don't really need us, I think that would be
Maybe that might be
the first start.
On the other hand, some of the value of sitting on committees, and sorry, I'm playing both sides because I just want to, it's not always a simple answer.
Exactly.
Some groups represent really significant interest to the village or really significant other perspectives or something, like the Chamber of Commerce. I'm just going to pick one, but so you may feel value in having a representative on a particular committee. VARDA brings in a lot of tourism, and tourism is important to our village, we know that.
Right.
These are just the considerations in looking at which groups do you feel you are actually bringing and getting value from.
And keeping that link and connection between that group and the village. And hopefully that collaboration. Okay.
Should we just start at the top?
We might as well just start at the top and go down. So we have the Canoe Valley Recreation Center, the Arena Committee.
So I'm on that one. And I don't know if I offer any value to that committee. Like it's hard to say whether you offer value or not. I mean, I don't.
What's the purpose of the committee?
It's for the running and operations of the rec center. So it's regional district funded. So, and we have a village councillor liaison, and I'm a voting member.
So another consideration is how onerous is a committee? Some committees meet monthly, some committees meet twice a year.
This one is not too bad. It meets, I believe we meet 3 times a year. So that's not too bad,
And they run under the guidelines of the regional district then, I'm assuming?
Yep.
And is your role just to report back to council and?
If there's anything, like I said, I'm a voting board member, so if there's anything that's pertinent, then I would report it. This is hard, you know,
So it
I mean, I
is.
sit on 9 committees.
I know.
You know, and I mean, they're all important and they all have
Yeah.
value, but the plate is overfilling. I'm
full.
sorry to say, but the plate is overfilled and it's rolling onto another plate. So it's hard to say, you know, look, if I give up this one, you know, it's hard.
But if you have that number, if you had to have that number, which ones would become, which ones would it be clear would rise to the top of importance?
I think we had discussed at one point too that a lot of these committees could just submit their minutes
Right.
for us to go over, and then if we had any questions of any sort, then we could raise those then.
We've invited some committees to do that.
We have, that's right. Specifically invited them, and then they have been following through and submitting minutes.
Some have.
Yeah.
I think for the CVRC one though, we should check and see, like Councillor Salt said about their mandate, because I know that once when I wasn't able to make it, they phoned the mayor and he attended, so I'm not sure if they require.
So I would say one of the first directions maybe that
To
we
find out.
do is to direct staff to contact these external committees that aren't mandatory, to find out if they have it mandated in their bylaws, their mandates, their policies to have a council liaison, and if they feel it's necessary to continue that relationship.
And if you want to carry this conversation on in another committee of the whole with that additional information, that's certainly an option as well.
That might be a,
And and get the purpose, what they feel that the purpose of the councillor would be on their board.
yeah.
What their role, what they expect their role to be.
I don't think we can really make a decision until we sort of have that information from those committees, right?
Yeah,
To be fair.
I
From the
agree.
first group of
Yeah.
committees anyways,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The external committees and those, and our boards might be a little bit easier because they're just thrown together, right? Those ones are usually.
The internal ones, you mean?
No, the next group of the
Yeah,
external ones.
Oh, the next group is internal ones.
Oh, no, sorry, the internal,
Yeah.
my apologies.
Yeah, and well, those are ones created by council, so you have more authority to decide yes, no.
Yeah,
Right.
okay. Do we also, I'm just wondering too, we don't have a full council here tonight.
Exactly.
So
I say it's an option.
I'm thinking we may even want to defer then debating and discussing and having this committee of the whole on our actual internal committees, because we don't have everyone here to speak on behalf of their certain committees that they've been appointed to.
It'd be better if we were all here and we had that information from the committees themselves.
So shall we
Absolutely.
Let's defer.
defer this committee of the whole at this point until a future council meeting, whether I don't think we'd have it back by our next one, all that information, because it's going to require time to contact those groups.
Although the next one may be.
Maybe a month away, but,
Yeah.
okay. We'll defer it for a year for staff to determine which council meeting we can fit in.
Gather the information.
Hopefully for the beginning of May.
Is that a good word?
That's a good time.
Okay.
I'm not here for the last one in April.
Okay, so let's shoot it for the
I'm not
first
here-
of
I'm
May,
not
the
here in
first one of
April
May.
at all.
Let's go for May 13th then.
Okay.
Defer to May
Thanks.
13th.
Do we need an actual motion for that?
Yes.
I don't think so.
So I'll make a motion that we defer that to the May 13th when we're all here and ask staff to contact those committees and find out the information.
That are the non-mandatory ones according
Yep.
to our listing here. Okay. Seconder?
I'll second. I will.
Councillor Latimer? I'm not even going to ask, I'm just going to say,
Yeah.
B and L.
okay, all in favor? Carried. Okay, reading file. Is there anything anyone wishes to pull from the reading file?
I would just like to give a heads up about the Northern Health Media Bulletin about getting your children immunized for the pertussis vaccine, which is whooping cough. I just wanted to put the word out there that there have been a few incidents in northern BC, and it would be wise to contact the Northern Health community, the clinic, doctors, nurses, and check into this situation if you have small children. Okay.
I don't need to pull anything out.
Okay. So if nothing else, we will receive the reading file of March 25th, 2014 for information purposes. Councillor Blanchette, Councillor Latimer, all in favor? Carried. We'll speed this up. Administrator reports. We have, should I be stepping out? I'm not, it's a working group.
We won't have a quorum if we step out.
Can we defer this until?
No,
I don't think so.
we can't, we need to get it in.
In the absence.
There's quorum because it's available council members.
Right, exactly. Quorum consists of available council members, so you are allowed to step out.
Okay,
Because it'd be quorum of 4, not of
Okay.
5 in this case, because you have a conflict of interest.
yeah, okay. Okay, so one of you gonna sit up here or?
I'll just read it from here.
Okay, okay. I am going to step out on this one as a perceived potential conflict of interest.
Can you explain why?
Because this is a grant application going to the Regional District of Fraser Fort George for a grant and aid towards the Trans-Canada Yellowhead Highway Association Planning Working Group for hosting it here in Valemount. Because I'm a part of that working group, and that is requesting this approval to submit this grant, I should step out. So I'm going to do that.
So like Councillor Salt said, this is to seek a resolution from council for an application by the Trans-Canada Yellowhead Highway Association AGM Planning Committee to the Regional District of Fraser Fort George for a grant and aid. The bit of background is Valemount was successful on a bid host for the 2014 AGM and annual conference for the TCYHA. The planning committee for this conference would like to apply for a grant and aid from RDFFG for $2,500 to go towards the food and venue for the Thursday, May 15th, 2014 welcome reception at the Tijan Lodge in Tijan. This application requires the support of council to be considered. The recommendation is that council approve the application to Regional District of Fraser Fort George for a grant and aid in the amount of $2,500 to be put towards the food and venue for the May 15th welcome reception in Tijan Lodge.
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Carried. We're good, eh? We should have co-mayorship, yeah.
I've heard of councils where they've had up to other council of 6 plus the mayor, and having had like 4 or 5 of them step up.
Oh, wow, eh?
Particular issues.
Yeah. Jeez.
Thank you, Councillor Blanchette.
You're welcome, your worship.
Acting worship.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Next item of business is cancellation of the April 8th council meeting. He disappeared on me. Okay. So we have a situation during the week of our April 8th council meeting that has a number of people away, staff and council. And so we are looking at either deferring until the last meeting in April or scheduling a special meeting. Because Councillor Latimer, we hear, may not be available for the last meeting in April, and we want to make sure that if council has any changes that they wish to make on the 5-year financial plan, And if council deems that they may want more time to look at this item that's been added on to the agenda tonight for this agency referral, we could schedule a special meeting the following week. So I would like direction from council, what your wishes may be.
So that would be the 15th?
The following Tuesday?
Or is that what
Yeah.
you're thinking of, or?
It doesn't have to be an evening meeting.
Okay, because
It
that's
could
an
be a
APC usually.
Could be a special meeting
It
during
would
the
be a
day.
daytime meeting, and it would be a very quick meeting, a 15-minute meeting.
We would just have to make sure we provide the requirements for
We would do the
notice.
appropriate advertising.
Right.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion then that we cancel April 8th meeting and reschedule a special meeting for Tuesday, April the 15th, if that's okay.
Would afternoon? Daytime afternoon work?
Yeah.
Anytime after 2?
Anytime
After
Does that
2?
work for you?
Okay.
Councillor Blanc?
Yeah, 2:15 works.
2:15?
Anything?
Sounds good. Okay,
Do we
Ray?
know if there's going to be problems with Councillor Bullock and the mayor? With that time?
Tuesdays are her day off,
Okay.
Okay,
and
I don't see the mayor,
he should be fine,
Okay.
because
his regional
should be
district
back
on
from
Thursday.
EKBOG, exactly.
Yeah. Okay,
Well, he won't be
Yeah.
concerned.
so why don't we tentatively schedule it and staff can advise us if that's going to be any problem with Mayor McCracken or Councillor Bullock. And if we need to reschedule, but why don't we schedule it for Tuesday, April 15th at 2:30?
2:15?
2:15?
2:15?
2:15? Is that the time?
Does that work?
Sure.
2:17?
17 is better for me.
So, Your Worship, a special council meeting can only discuss the items that a special council meeting has been called for, so we need to identify
Those
which items
items, okay.
to put in there.
So,
Which
So I
makes it a little bit awkward if it's.
I know.
Do I need to expand on my motion then, or?
Sorry?
Do I need to expand on the motion that I made?
That would be good, but.
Okay, so, set the date for April the 15th at 2:15 to consider the third reading of the 5-year financial plan bylaw 7/17/2014 and third reading of the street vendor bylaw 7/13/2014 and the fees and charges amendment bylaw 7/14/2014.
I'll second it.
Yes, no?
motion to defer this when we're discussing.
You know what, we can have an amendment to this when
we address it.
When you
needed.
make a decision on that, if you need to include it into that special meeting, it can be done then as well.
Okay. Okay. Does that work?
Sorry, the amendment to the agenda is the contentious issue. Well, not contentious, is the one that may want some consideration.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. All, Councillor
Yep.
Blanchette second, all in favor, carried. We have no economic development officer report, public works report, building inspector report, bylaw officer report, or financial report. So we will head right into bylaws and policies. We have development variance permit 0313. Uh-oh, your battery's low. And it is for 1265 Canoe View Place. And they are applying for a side yard, front or side yard variance, and a maximum height of the accessory building variance.
That's right.
Okay?
So I can provide a bit of background.
I was
on
going to
this.
say, Corporate Officer Hutchins, would you like to provide council with a little background?
Absolutely, this is off the top of my head because sharing iPad's here. That's okay.
You want it?
No. So there's two aspects to this variance. One is the height of the garage. Typically, we allow for up to 3.5 meters, which allows for actually a very small garage and a very flat roof. And the gentleman would like to have up to 7 meters of height, so double what's normally allowed in the zoning bylaw, to allow for a peaked roof and a larger garage. He's also requesting to be located in the front yard, primarily for access. It's a longer, narrower lot on Canoe View Place. And I think that the theme of not allowing accessory buildings in the front yard is for look from the street, This one's a little bit of an interesting situation because arguably on this street, it might be better to have the accessory building in the front yard because on the backyard is cranberry marsh. And if that border or that path was to be finished, the people walking by on the boardwalk and on the path would actually have a nice view of the garage if it was in the backyard. So in a sense, this variance from that angle might make sense to have in the front yard. It's a bigger lot as well. I put 3 options in the report for council. One would be just to proceed with notices to the public and then to bring it back to the council meeting in a month. The second one would be to say, well, in the report we've got a topographic, an overview of what the property would look like, but we don't actually have, say, for example, a visual of what it might look like in the street. So you could request whatever information you deem necessary from the applicant, or you could deny it outright.
At this stage, though, you're actually only asking council to be able to prepare an application, right? Or to prepare the...
They could also, under bylaw 595, deny outright or ask for more information before it even goes for notices.
But this is not the final...
No, this is not the final.
This variance.
That's right.
Council?
I just have a few questions.
Yeah, please.
I drove by there on the weekend, and if the garage is approximately this size, it looks like the house is about the same size in
Right.
height.
That's likely.
The house is pretty big.
And the house looks a lot bigger because of the veranda that's on all 4 sides of the
Right.
house. The garage is just under the allowable size. It just meets the requirements. So the zoning bylaw says that the accessory building can't be greater than 50% of the floor area of the dwelling. And floor area is measured by the total floor area of all enclosed spaces, so it excludes the veranda, but it's everything on the main floor and everything in the upstairs. And I want to say off the top of my head, it's the floor area of the house is 1,970, and the floor area of the accessory building, the garage, is about 900. So you're looking at, give or take, 120, 130 feet, just under that 50% threshold. So compared to the house, it is a big garage.
So has he said if they said, are they planning on having living quarters in the garage?
That's a great question. He teased me about that. He said, I really need a peak roof for living quarters. But he said, no, I know there's issues on this matter in the village before, and no, there's no intent to have living quarters.
So water, power, and sewer would just be because they need that in the garage?
I'd have to say so. He explicitly said there would be no living quarters.
Because there's a power box right in the middle where the trees are going to be taken down to put the garage.
Yeah, it just looks a little, on the drawing that was given, it does show water, power, and sewer going to that garage, so it makes me a little curious too.
So,
Did he say what he's going to be putting in the garage?
no. What is interesting though, was should he want to have a living quarter in that garage above, he would need to apply for a second variance, because right now our zoning bylaw says that no accessory buildings, detached buildings, can have living quarters above. They have to be attached to the main dwelling. So if he was intending to have living quarters, and we talked about it, he would have known that he would have had to have put it in this variance application to deal with all at once. But if he wants living quarters, he'd have to come back to council a second time for a variance.
And what's our bylaw with the mother-in-law suite kind of thing? Because we have that bylaw where you can build an accessory building up to 1,000 square feet, is it?
Yes, secondary.
Secondary building?
We have special requirements on secondary suites. Off the top of my head, I wouldn't want to
Okay.
speak to them.
Okay.
I know we did it for Wendy's mom, but,
Yeah.
or mom did mom, but.
So in no way in going to the next phase of this variance would council be endorsing a secondary suite here, because that would have to be done through an entirely different variance process.
So can we ask 2 things? Could we ask you to do up the draft and notify the the neighbors, as well as ask for more information but with better drawings?
I think that's totally reasonable, absolutely.
'Cause I would like to see some elevation drawings explaining, I mean, I understand 3.5 meters is not high, but 7 meters is 23 feet. That is tall. And I just would like to see a better explanation as to why the request for a double height variance, and see some elevation drawings as well for that. Council, you in favor of that friendly amendment? Councillor Latimer? Okay, all in favor? Carried. Are you okay with that, Councillor?
Absolutely.
Corporate Officer Hutchins. There you go. Hey, wow, promoting you. Okay.
Got it.
Okay. And we're on to council, oh, yes? Yeah, council reports are before new business, okay. Council reports. Councillor Latimer, Councillor Blanchette, who wants to go first?
I'll go first. March 13th, I went to the CBT presentation. It was really, really great. It was great to see so many clubs out there, so many different things. You know, you learn what's out in our village, you know, and I wish we had enough money for everybody. So I don't envy your position. And it was just a really good night. It's always interesting. And that is it.
Wow, good for you.
I too attended the CBT presentations, which again were very good. On the 19th, I went to the Varda board meeting, and Varda has named all the runs at Crystal Ridge, so all 6 runs have been named. Well, would you like to know the run names?
Yes.
That'd be awesome.
Powder Border's Choice, Dawn Run, Crazy Chicken, Boomstick, Magic School Bus, and No Princesses.
I like that one.
Yeah. And not on behalf of council, but on the 22nd, I hosted the Canadian Adventure Company group with media, and they were all going up to the new Mallard Mountain Lodge. And it was very interesting to sit by the owner of Derek McManus of the Canadian Adventure Company, and what they've done to put this lodge together, and the media were all going up there to ski and snowshoe, and he is planning on building onto that lodge. So I think it's a great development for Valemount. Definitely. Yeah, a jewel in the middle of nowhere. So that's it.
Good for you. Oh. I actually had a few more, but not too many as well. I had the CBT Community Initiatives Affected Areas public presentation night, and yeah, I don't look forward to the tough decisions to be made. Like you said, we wish we had money to give every group. There are a lot of really good groups out there with a lot of very hardworking volunteers that put in many, many hours of their time. They're all, great contributors to the community. There's projects that really appeal to all different aspects and scopes of people out there, anyone from your non-extreme sports enthusiasts to our seniors to children's gymnastics. There's just an abundance of great projects. So coming Thursday this week, the committee is going to have some very tough deliberations to make. So, and then I also had a Trans-Canada Yellowhead Highway Association AGM planning working group meeting, and we're getting down to the crunch. We're just about 7 weeks away to that AGM, and starting to get things ramped up, speakers confirmed. I'm hoping delegates are starting to register and book rooms and everything like that, and we're just really trying to work on promoting Valemount and BC to the 4 Western provinces. And we had discussion, so we will be doing a bit of a media release to our local media and the local chambers of commerce to give them a little more details as to what's happening. And then I also had a Chamber of Commerce board meeting that I attended, and wow, they are a busy group as well and have been doing some tremendous work. They took on an initiative with Greyhound to see about some improvements in service and have done a tremendous job with that. A really fabulous 12 or 16 page report of all of the documentation they received from citizens of their meetings with Greyhound executives have been forwarded to our local MP, Kathy McLeod, and I believe we're also being forwarded on to another, I think not only Kathy McLeod, but the Northern MP as well, and then even higher ups in the federal government as well. So it's...
And to the BC Chamber.
And to the BC Chamber, okay, yeah. So they've done a tremendous amount of work, and they have some really exciting events coming up too that they're working on and planning on. I'm not going to announce too much just yet because we're in some of the preliminary stages, but I would just say watch for announcements coming from the Chamber of some upcoming exciting events that they're trying to bring to Valemount, just to get, again, some more awareness, get the community involvement, and yeah, so they've been doing a really great job. And that's it for me, I think. Yeah, today I was working on CBT evaluations, and now I'm here tonight. So there we go. So may we have a motion to receive council reports? Councillor Latimer, Councillor Blanchette, all in favor? Carried. New business. Regional District of Fraser Fort George, agency referral. Application for non-farm use in the agricultural land reserve. General location west of Valemount. Council, do you wish to have some time to review this?
Can anybody give us a quick rundown of this, or should we defer this and look it over? Is this time sensitive?
There is time sensitive, but some of the considerations are, it isn't within the village, but it may have an impact to the village. It may have a positive impact in terms of a business opening up there. On the other hand, land taken out of the ALR should never be taken lightly because that's a pretty important designation for land. And so if you are looking for a little bit more information, it would be a good idea to ask staff to put together some information. This has just come in, so we haven't had the time to do that.
The proposal is, the owners propose to establish a family business consisting of recreation accommodation, cabin rentals, a horse training, trail riding business, and a family residence. The recreation accommodation will include 5 rental cabins and a central office cabin. The horse business will include a riding arena, barn with apartment family, mobile home for staff, and sheds. The property is also proposed to be subdivided into 4 lots to accommodate these uses. A detailed proposal letter, photos, and site plan from the applicant are attached.
What's interesting to note is that the dwelling and the horse business are allowed under the agricultural land reserve. It's the cabins.
It's the cabins,
the cabins that would not be. It's a non-farm use.
Okay. So it is time sensitive. They do wish comments by April 17th. As we were discussing earlier, we could possibly do a friendly amendment to our previous resolution of a special meeting of April 15th to include addressing this at that meeting and allowing council some more time to review this information.
That would be nice, because like we haven't even had a chance to read it, so I don't really want to make a decision on something I haven't read yet.
Okay. Does that work? Corporate Officer Hutchins?
I've never had to go through this before to the minutes, so I think you just need to make a motion to amend.
To add this to the
So I'll make a motion that we add
To the
this
special meeting.
referral form to our special meeting on April 15th.
Okay. And council, note the outstanding council resolutions for information purposes. Anything there? Nothing to note. Calendar of events we've got for March and April for information purposes. And now we're on to the public comment section of the evening. Keeping in mind that items raised must be items that have been on the agenda tonight. And it's a comment, not for debate. Does anyone have any comment?
Paul Brown from 1123 9th Avenue. As far as the community place and the garage, it might be nice for the people that live on that side of the road and the path not to have a garage in front. But don't forget about the people that live on the other side of the road. They want to look at King Mountain and have a great big garage in there. Just as a thought. Second thing, I can read the agenda okay. I can't read any of the attachments because I need to log in and a password to do that. So I'm not sure what the...
I can speak to that. We're working through permission issues right now, and hopefully they'll be fixed soon. But there's a small little issue with permissions on. If you download it, there's three things you can see right now online. One's the HTML, one's the split screen, and one's the PDF. If you look on the PDF, everything will be there. It's only when you enter the split screen of the HTML, you can't download the attachments. It'll ask for your username and password. The PDF is the whole thing. And you can download that and print that without missing anything.
I guess I could try it on my computer, but on my iPad, it won't download that PDF.
Is that right?
And before it would.
So, that's just for this meeting?
No.
No.
Ever since you've gone to this system.
Okay.
It's a great system.
Or just temporary.
Paul, can I ask though, on your computer you can download the PDF?
I
Just
have
not on, okay.
I've been able to download the PDF, but I've had the same problems with the HTML.
Yeah, it asks you to log in.
Okay.
I'll try it.
But that said, I know you have an iPad, and looking at the split screen would be a heck of a lot easier than a PDF, so we'll do that for you. Get it working.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none. We will ask for a motion to proceed to in camera for the consideration of 2 items.
Accept the public.
Oh, sorry. Motion to accept the public comment. Councillor Blanchette, Councillor Latimer, all in favor? Thank you. Thank you. And now a motion to proceed to in camera for consideration of 2 items as per section 90E and K of the community charter.
And just for the benefit of the media here, you'll note that we've actually put the specific subsections of 90, so you can know exactly what items of the in-camera we're talking about now.
And are those, what are E and K?
Oh, please don't ask me.
Okay. Motion, Councillor Latimer, Councillor Blanchette, all in favor, carried. Thank you.